This is called The Exorcism at the House of Monkton Falls. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it was a game that just came to me on Kickstarter. We got a chance to play it about 3 times recently, and I kind of wanted to talk about it as an example of a good first game by a company. So the company is The Screaming Brain, which is an awesome name, just like the name of the game, an awesome name. And it's pretty evident that this is not only their very first game, but it is also a really great attempt at making a first game feel like it wasn't a first game. Now there's a couple of elements in here that really kind of give it away as a first time designed game, and I find it interesting because not a lot of designers are willing to let that pass. You know, the rulebook has a couple of misspellings, just a couple. It just needed like maybe one other set of eyes to go over it. It was missing, I think, an N off of the word token somewhere in there, so it calls it a toke instead of a token. But, you know, that's a real minor thing. The other elements of this game kind of come together to remind me that it is a first-time game. Like, the timer up here is a set of dice, and the timer just indicates how long we have to play the game. Each round, we tick this timer down by 1. This is to indicate that we have 1 pip is 10 minutes. So a 6 is an hour. So if we spend 8 hours in this house, we lose. If we spend more than 8 hours, I suppose, then we lose. One of the other things is that on each of the room cards, there's also a dice facing that. If I draw that dice facing off of this card, I have to add a bad token to that room. Why a dice facing? It makes me think that originally dice had a more prominent role in this game. Pun very much intended, that it had a more prominent role early in the development, that you were supposed to be rolling dice to see where these darkness tokens were going down or where maybe other things were going to happen. And that kind of moved away, but the design didn't. And I don't think it's a problem, but it does show that this was a first-time game. The other element that I noticed that these guys had added into this game that I thought they were very wise to stick with is these cards over here. There's little decks of these cards, and they have the same face on the front as they do the back. There's an exorcism, they're called occult tokens, they're called detection cards, keys, holy relics, and weapons. And they're not tokens, they're cards. And for a game that only had about 200 backers, I want to say, this was a really smart move. To only do cards, which are like, I don't know, maybe 10 cards for a penny in a game when you're actually manufacturing it, that makes a huge difference as opposed to, say, a huge cardboard punch-out that's got all these as tokens, or even worse, wooden tokens, if that's the kind of direction you'd want to go. So that was a real smart move, but it does still, again, show that this is a first-time game maker's game. And I think that this is also a really great game, so make no mistake, I'm kind of poking holes in some of the things that I think are kind of silly, but ultimately this is a wonderful game, and I think that it's awesome that they executed on it. Because too often I see people who are talking about making their game, and then they never make it because they wanted to do this one element just perfect. And these guys very clearly were like, you know what? We can do cards. That's good enough. We don't need the dice, but we already have these designed dice cards and these different pieces of art. We might as well use them. Other elements of this game still come together, and they made a really good game. Very much worth checking out if you ever got a chance to see it. And I think the only other element I was thinking of was that these little darkness tokens, one way to lose is if you put out all the darkness tokens and you can't put another one out, then you lose. However, if you get a 4th darkness token on the board, those 4 tokens wipe off the board, and we put one of these cards down to shroud the room so that you can't see it anymore. You can't utilize the room. You can still move through it, but you can't utilize it. Once you cleanse the room of being shrouded, this goes back into the box. So this is a finite resource. However, the game comes with 35 black tokens. There's only 12 rooms that have the ability to get tokens, so I would need to put 3 tokens on every single room, and just by sheer luck never draw the card that puts a 4th token on one of the rooms, and then attempt to put another token somewhere else without being able to do that. In fact, I think that would just be you would need 36 tokens in order for that to not ever happen. 35 would mean it happens almost never. To me, that's another kind of sign that this game is a first-time game, that maybe the math wasn't super there, but I still love the game. It's still a wonderful game. It's cooperative. You're supposed to exorcise this little demon out of the house and hope that his little demon buddies don't show up and also take you down, and you've got extra lives, and it's just a really good game, and I highly recommend it. And thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, give us a like, a share, a subscribe maybe, and a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.